中国うさぎ、待機。プロトコルアニマ発動。VPN より日本サーバーに接続中。danimestore に接続。処理完了。
Thank you, Pewdiepie. It really made my life healthier, and I'm going to explain why. I have been a Linux user since 2010. I have used it during the entirety of my college graduation, which shows how it was always a viable operational system for desktop, even back in the day. And I have used it until about 2019, when I started playing a certain MMORPG, and I needed a microphone that works. Like, none of my microphones worked on Linux, and I couldn't get them working, so I just bought a Windows key and it just worked. However, using Windows was not very nice, because I spent most of my time on the task manager trying to queue processes that I didn't want, that were just freezing my system, hogging my memory, and making everything unusable, or I was in the registry editor trying to make the system work in the way I wanted to work. For example, I would always have to remake my auto logon setup, which allowed me to just log in without having to put in my credentials, because Windows takes a lot of time to log in, to boot, so I would just turn it on, leave it there for a few minutes, and then come back to use it. However, Windows would always just kill my setup and reset it, so I had to log in with my PIN and redo the entire thing on the registry editor. But that was not fine, but I could live with that. Until one day, I came back from work, tired, just wanted to watch some anime, and I found my auto logon setup, reset it, and instead of just using my PIN to log in, I had to use my Microsoft email address and password. I only used that Microsoft account once, when I had to install the system. But yes, for some reason it asked me to use it, so I had to use my mobile device to recover the account. It was such a frustration. And it just showed how I didn't want to use Windows for much longer. At around that time, I got some skin rashes, and my dermatologist, she said my rashes were caused by stress, which is strange because I don't live a stressful life. I have a simple work, I have simple hobbies, and there's nothing in my life that could cause me stress, except for Windows. So I just remembered that maybe Windows is making me sick. And well, that's around when Pewdiepie dropped his first video, which is the video about building his gaming PC. And in this video there was a segue to NordVPN, the sponsorship section of the video, and he just casually mentioned he uses Linux.
Recently I switched to Linux, and NordVPN works just as good there as any other operating system.
So I just decided to reevaluate my life. Like, what do I use my computer for? Mostly to watch anime. Do I need Windows for that? No. So decided to install Linux, to go back to it, and my life just became so much better from there. But still, I was just a casual user. When something didn't work, I just didn't bother to try to fix it. It was better than Windows, but still not the optimum experience at my computer, until Pewdiepie dropped another video, the one in which he shows his Rising setup. In the first part of the video, he just mentioned how he can be proactive to fix whatever doesn't work, which hit me right on the spot. And then he showed his rising setup, which is amazing.
It's just a nice vibe here. We just chill over here, and then when I'm in workflow, it blackens it all out. And I can just get going on my schwingy thingy.
So that inspired me to just start using my system, my computer, more seriously. For example, I play piano, and I couldn't get MIDI to work at first, but I just started working on that, and thanks to Red Hat we have pipe wire now, not jack, and it was kind of easy to sort. And there are a lot of minor inconveniences that I was able to fix. But that's not enough. I wanted to rise my system, but I use Ubuntu, and I didn't want to switch to Arch or any other distro that supports hyperlinks out of the box. So I decided to just, instead of making changes at the desktop environment level, to just make an application on top of what I have. And that's where this came. In the top left corner I have my new fetch. Below that I have a terminal-like window that shows me output to the commands that I run. I have a very nice Bishoujo Chugoku Usagi, just telling me what's happening and just interacting with me.
中国うさぎ、大気。
And I have an entry box where I can put my commands. The idea is that I have like a protocol for anything that I want to use my system for. If I just want to watch anime, there's a protocol for that. If I want to talk to friends, there's a protocol that will open Discord and Spotify. And if I want to do some programming, there's a protocol that will open my code editor and also give me Spotify so I can listen to some music. And basically, instead of going to the terminal and typing the commands one by one, I decided to have everything here in this application. So first, Chugoku Usagi, the anime girl, the anime character. Where does this come from? Well, this comes from VOICEVOX, which is a voice synthesis application that is free, and you can just choose a character and write some text
見方が変な時はイントネーションを修正することもできます。
like this, and then you can record the audio and use it in whatever way you want. Each character has a special license that gives you like rules for how you can use it. For Chugoku Usagi, as long as you can say that it's from VOICEVOX and it's this character, you can use her. And not just her voice. There are some characters and some illustrations that are free to use. Ika no irasto ga genzai shio dekimasu yo. This is just a collection of illustrations that you can use without having to pay anything or worry about license restrictions. So I just chose this one. Yes. So this is where the anime girl comes from. As for how it all works, I have a Python project. First I have a .sh file. This is used for having this application run at startup. So systemd will try to run the script when I start the computer. It tells me to go to this directory and to source virtual environment and then run the application. It's actually not up to date because I have app.py which changed to main.py, so I have to fix that. Another thing I have is just older versions of the project, sensitive data, version control, license. I wanted to make it a public domain, but I can't because of this components that I'm using, external modules. I also have some other stuff. A data directory which has some data structures, like a list of protocols and the commands to run, a list of lines that the characters have to say. This is to get system information for the new fetch. I also have images, like I have many versions of Usagi, and if I want to make a new character I can just put a new image. Requirements is to list what modules, external modules you're running. Style.css, this is to style the application in an easy way. And then VOICEVOX is where I have all of the audio files. As for the code itself, I have some data structures, 3 of them. Serifu is for lines, the lines that the character will say. Protocols are the sequence of commands that are run by the application, and sysinfo is to retrieve the data for the neofetch. If we look at each one of these, for ZynnAddSubFX I have a dictionary with a key in the line, and it's actually inside another dictionary with the name of the characters, and I could add more characters if I wanted. There is this daihon method. Daihon is the Japanese term for the documents that voice actors get with character settings and lines that have to say. So I'm really role-playing here. And in the protocols data structure, you can see I'm very inconsistent with docstrings. I'm working on it. In this, I have the list of actions to run. The protocol enemy is going to update the label below Usagi-chan. It will play an audio that reflects that line, and it will actually run the commands, opens the terminal and writes NordVPN, connect, and my direct IP. I'm using Weibo names such as Tachie and Daihon and Onse. My JTK application window is called Mado, which is window in Japanese, because just calling it window kind of reminds me of Windows, and that makes me angry. The layout of the application was very hard to make. It's not like HTML, in which you can just open the browser and see it updating in real time. You have to restart the application every time once you see a change. So I have a very simple grid. Basically I have a right column and a left column, and then I just place the elements. What is interesting is my neofetch place, because each one of these strings is a label. So I have 32 labels and I have to put them manually because I need to style them and populate them with dynamic content. So this is a very long block of code. You can see that I hard-coded some things. For example, my GPU is this, and instead of having some part of my code fetching that data, I'm just writing it here because, well, I'm not changing my GPU anytime soon. But for the memory, you can see that I have Usagi-chan doing her hokoku to give me the information. Like something very hard that gave me a lot of trouble is managing threads, because there are things that you can't run in the main thread, otherwise it will freeze the UI. And this gave me, trying to manage a secondary thread, which is the worker thread, it gave me so much trouble because it kept resulting in segmentation faults. And I spent over a week trying to figure out why. Even AI assistance was not enough to understand what was going on. And in the end I just realized it's because of the module I was using to play sounds. I'm using play sounds now, but I was using simple audio, and simple audio doesn't go well with JTK. So if you're doing a PyG object project, then you probably don't want to use simple audio. So that's pretty much it. That's how my application works, and I'm still working on it. I would like to revamp the UI. I would like to have a better background. This background is, I made a black to murasaki to purple gradient, and I just put a torii, like a shrine gate on it. But I'm pretty sure there are more aesthetically pleasing ways to organize this. I was thinking about having sakura trees in the background and then rendering the animation of sakura petals falling on the foreground. That would be very nice. And I'm also trying to put more commands, so eventually I don't even need to use bash. Like in the GNOME terminal, I have been thinking about just doing something like bang b and then list -a, and having that perform a bash command and show me the output in this terminal.
中国うさぎ大輝
Anyway, I hope you like my setup, and if you want to use it, or if you're interested in working with it, you can find it on GitHub by searching for Bishoujo D, and it's public, and you can just clone it and work with it. But I don't include the assets, so you need to download everything yourself from the VOICEVOX website, or use whatever voice synthesis software you want. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you, Pewdiepie, for making me have so much fun with my computer.